toast to their career.
The perfect combination, boy.
Hemp hard, legends in the South.
This is sports fans' only home for the hottest sports show around. These guys are on fire.
You're now listening to KJ and Sean Mack. Damn sports.
Welcome back to Sports Fans Only. I'm your host, KJ, and for those listening on the podcast, I hope you enjoyed the music break, and for those just joining us on YouTube, welcome back to the show. As promised, 2 months later, I finally present to you part 2 of the 20 teammates who most hated each other. Now, I did part 1, as I mentioned a couple of months ago, and I promise it was not designed to be this long, but just to review, I'll go over 20 through 11 real fast, and then we'll focus on the top 10. As always, hit that like button and the subscribe button. And if you like the content on the show, don't be afraid to hit that share button and share with other people who love sports talk podcast / YouTube sports videos. Anyway, let's get into this list, shall we? Number 20, we had Johnny Evers and Joe Tinker. Those were baseball players for the Chicago Cubs. That was number 20. Number 19, we had Billy Martin and Ed Winston of the New York Yankees. Number 18, we had Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley of the Houston Rockets. Number 17, we had Maxi Lopez and Mauro Icardi. That was of the I think that's the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. Number 16, we had Wally Zerbiak and Kevin Garnett of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 15, we had Stephen Davis and Michael Westbrook of the formerly the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team. Number 14, we had Marcus Williams and Bill Romanowski when they were on the Denver Broncos. Number 13, we had Kwame Brown and Michael Jordan. We all know about that situation. Number 12, we had Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo. And number 11, we had Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo. So moving into the top 10, we had Kerry Williams and Riley Cooper. I know a lot of you guys remember this. This rivalry was mostly about a comment that Riley Cooper made in 2013. Apparently, he dropped a racial slur when he was being recorded. And, naturally, not everybody's going to be okay with that. So I think Williams, he heard about it just like we all did. And when it came to practice time, it came to physical blows, basically, during a practice session, which was broken up by Michael Vick. That was right after Michael Vick was getting through all his situations. So he's the one who actually broke it up. So nobody really knows whether or not those two patched things up or not. But anyway, moving along, we are going to go to number 9, Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon. Now, this was all over ESPN. This was a good one. I love it. And I used to hate Bryce Harper because he used to kill the New York Mets all the time. So when this happened, it brought me a lot of joy. We don't know if the overall relationship between these two was that bad, but they did get into this fight during a game against the Philadelphia Phillies. Apparently Harper, he just wasn't putting enough effort into the game, and Papelbon, he's one of those old school dudes. He was displeased, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of things behind the scenes. He was what would you call him? A prima donna, a diva. That's kind of what Bryce Harper was. He had the golden hair. He used to do the little flip of his hair, during the game and stuff like that. So he kind of came off as a diva. So anyway, Papelbon pretty much choked him out. As you see on your screen, he choked him out pretty good. And I was sitting there rooting for him. There's a couple of fights that happened on this list when I was rooting for the dude that was doing the ass whooping. So I definitely enjoyed this confrontation. But yeah, this is one of the few on this list that actually came to blows. There's about 4 of them. So anyway, moving on, this one actually came to blows as well. This is Golden Tate and Percy Harvin. I don't know if you guys remember, they both were on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, we don't know how close these two football players were at any point, but what we do know is that Percy Harvin body slammed Golden Tate. Slammed him so hard, this was right before the Super Bowl, slammed him so hard that it was feared that Tate's neck was broken. Now, I don't know what that was all about. There was never anything that came out after that about what happened. All we know is that Percy Harvin body slammed Golden Tate to the point where people thought his neck was broken. So Yeah, that's that one. So that was number 8. So moving along on to number 7. And I know this story well because I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. This is Brent Barry and Tony Parker. Now, if you guys don't know, they were teammates for a few years when during the San Antonio Spurs golden years when they were winning championships. And this is another teammate rivalry that was a direct result of someone cheating on their partner with the partner of another teammate. I don't know why basketball players do this. It seems like it happens more in basketball. Maybe it just gets publicized more. But yeah, a lot of players sleeping with other players' teammates. Remember the whole thing with LeBron where his teammate was sleeping with his mom? It's kind of strange, isn't it? Anyway, the long and short of it is that Tony Parker cheated on his wife with Brent Barry's wife. And yeah, that was pretty much it. And I think right after that, they traded Brent Barry. I don't see how that's his fault, but, you know, they're not going to give up Tony Parker for Brent Barry. But, yeah, that kind of puts Tony Parker in the scuzz bucket category. Wouldn't you agree? Little scuzz bucket. Anyway, moving along, we are at number 6. And let's see here. Oh, we got Jim Jackson and Jason Kidd. Now, these two basketball players, they just didn't like each other. According to Kidd, it was because Jackson was kind of selfish and he was a jerk, basically. He was more focused on glory for himself than winning the game. However, there are rumors that their animosity actually stems from a mishap with Tony Braxton. Little juicy celebrity situation there. Let's see here. Those rumors were never confirmed for certain, and both players deny it. But one way or another, Kidd refused to be on the same team with Jackson after the tension peaked, sitting out of every game until he was traded to the Phoenix Suns in 1996. That's crazy. So I'm guessing both players must have dated Tony Braxton at some time. Isn't Tony Braxton with Birdman right now, or did they break up? If anybody knows, let me know. Leave a little comment. I think she's with Birdman. Not sure. I think she broke up with him. Anyway, that was number 6. Moving on to number 5, we have Gilbert Arenas and Javarius. Let me see if I can get his name right. Crittenton. Javaris Crittenton and Gilbert Arenas. Now, I know everybody heard this story. This is the story of two teammates gambling, and this is when gambling goes wrong, and you're gambling for a certain amount of money, but you don't have it to pay after you lose, and the other guy's just ribbing you. He's getting on you, and he's making you mad, even though you deserve it. How you gonna bet? That's ass betting. That's what we used to call it. That's ass betting. How you gonna bet and don't have the money on you, and then when the dude gets on you, get mad? So basically, I guess tensions got so bad, they both decided to threaten each other with guns. Basically, next time I see you, I'm gonna have my gun, and, you know, we could take it from there. So 2 days later, they both come to practice, and yeah, you guessed it. They both had their pistols on them. And Javarius Crittenton actually pulled his gun out and pointed it at Gilbert Arenas. So needless to say, you've never heard of him ever again in the NBA. I'm pretty sure he was off. Gilbert Arenas was a star at the time, so he still played after that. But if you remember, his career didn't last too much longer after that either. You can't just go to work and pull guns out on each other because you were gambling for thousands of dollars. That's just not going to end up too good for you. Anyway, getting into the top 5. No, that was number 5. Number 4, we have Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. Now, this is an interesting one because one of the parties is kind of sensitive. Now, I understand feeling some type of way, but by all accounts, even actually they used to say they were really close friends and stuff like that. But in an interview, if I'm not mistaken, Alex Rodriguez was asked about Derek Jeter, and because people were saying he was the best shortstop. Now remember, Alex Rodriguez played shortstop before he moved over to third base. So at the time, everybody was saying it was either Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter. Now most people knew that Alex Rodriguez is the more superior physical specimen. He's going to give you more home runs. He's going to give you more RBIs. His average is probably even going to be a little higher, especially at that time. And he's going to give you more stolen bases. But for whatever reason, Jeter was the golden boy, and they asked him about that, and he said, it's easy to be great when you have a bunch of other Hall of Famers around you. Try being great when you're on a team like I'm on, after, most of their good players were gone by that point, and it was just him and Ken Griffey. I mean, that's not nothing, but it was him, Ken Griffey. That team that was really good was starting to fall apart, so they weren't that good anymore. So, yeah, he made that statement, and Derek Jeter pretty much stopped talking to him. And there's rumors that when Alex Rodriguez was signed to the Yankees, they had a meeting and they wanted them to act like they were friends. So by all accounts, they really weren't friends even when Alex Rodriguez went to the Yankees. But they were told to act like they were, just to keep the drama out of the clubhouse, I'm guessing. So that's number 4. Moving on to number 3. Now, this is another one. Remember I was telling you about teammates sleeping with their teammates' wives? This one is John Terry and Wayne Bridge. Of the many sport rivalries on this list, this one might be one of the most justified of, one of your teammates wanting to kill you. So basically, these two guys were really, really good friends. They were on the same team, and John Terry decided to sleep with the mother of Wayne Bridges' child. And that's kind of a no-no, when you're bros, you're breaking the bro code. Wayne Bridge was so upset about the ordeal that he chose to skip the World Cup rather than play with Terry after news about the affair got out. Never mind the fact that Terry was married and had kids of his own, making the situation just a little bit more worse. So, I don't know why people think that's a good idea. Out of all the women, why would you do that with your teammate? That just doesn't make sense. Making all that money, all the options, why do it? Number 2, we have, and this is a great one, Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds. Now, these two dudes really did not like each other. They actually hate each other. But they were at the time, they were two of the best hitters in baseball. Barry Bonds was the best hitter, and Jeff Kent, he put up a couple of seasons where he had MVP numbers. But the two baseball players ended up doing a lot more than just disliking each other during the course of this game. Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds, they ended up shoving each other in the dugout, and Barry Bonds basically grabbed him by the neck and started choking him. And this was live on camera, and if looking at the screen, you see it. It choked him out. I mean, if their teammates didn't separate it, he probably would have blacked out. And seeing that Jeff Kent came from the Mets, and I was actually watching this game, seeing that he came from the Mets and he left and he started doing so great, I found myself cheering for Barry Bonds to choke him just a little bit more. It's like, choke him. Well, I wanted to choke him. I wanted to choke him. But anyway, it's a great little memory. So number 1, and I guess this is debatable, we have Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Now, they patched their relationship up after Shaquille O'Neal retired. But in the midst of that, towards the end of that three-peat, when they lost to Detroit, they hated each other. I mean, they were in the media talking about each other all the time. And I don't know if you remember when Kobe Bryant threw Shaq under the bus, when Kobe was in the media for that supposed alleged rape that he was, what's the word I'm looking for? He was let off from that charge. I forget the word I'm looking for. But anyway, he said that, why is everybody making a big deal about it? Shaq sleeps with women all the time. And I think that right there is what really splintered their relationship. They already didn't like each other. There's a lot of stories about them, about to come to blows and arguing and stuff like that. But when he made that statement to the media, their relationship was over for years. You can even hear Shaq talk about it. They were good when Kobe passed away, rest in peace, but at the time, they absolutely hate each other. So that is my number 1, and that is my top 20 for most hated teammates of all time. If you guys have any honorable mentions, or if you have some teammates that you think should be in there, by all means, leave it in the comments. I will definitely respond. Either me or Sean Mack or somebody from the SFO team will definitely respond to your comments, and we'll bring it up on the next show. So anyway, all the YouTube viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Everybody listening on the podcast, we're about to take a break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Peace.